What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for a quick review of the debut studio album Encore by French electronic music producer DJ Snake. If you're not familiar with him, you might be and you don't even know it. He had huge hits like Turn Down for What, which was a top 5 hit in the US, Lean On with Major Lazer, and Mo, M with the O through a however you want to say it, and of course Middle off of this very record featuring Bipolar Sunshine. I actually had no idea how big of a hit this was, because I was kind of absent on what was going on with the charts for a little while, and I was doing a little bit of research for this record, and I was like, whoa, that peaked at number 20 on the Billboard Hot 100. Where have I been? I'm a fan of some of DJ Snake's older songs. Some of the ones like I mentioned, Turn Down for What is stupid fun, but fun regardless. And then Lean On with Major Lazer was fantastic. A huge anthem right there. Just a very smooth, well-produced, and well-thought-out track. It doesn't try to be anything more than it actually is, and that's what makes it great in my mind. And then, of course, Get Low with Dillon Francis. Dillon Francis being one of my favorite producers right there. That track being one of my favorites of 2014, 2015, kind of had a crossover success there. I believe it was used in one of the Fast and the Furious films, and that's what made it a little bit bigger. Love that it got the exposure that it did. Can't say that I'm feeling the singles that I had heard off of this record. Middle with Bipolar Sunshine seemed mediocre at best, and that's the problem that I'm actually having with the majority of his debut album Encore. It just feels like watered down stuff that wants to be crossover radio hits so badly because he's had it in the past, so we put out all of these tracks that just feel like filler content at best. The intro, A86, is actually a pretty enticing one because it kind of builds up suspense. There's something you're wondering what's going to come next, and then we fade into Middle with Bipolar Sunshine, which is not a bad track by any means. It's just that I feel like I've heard it before, and then we get another track at the end of this record once again featuring Bipolar Sunshine on the vocals, Future Part 2, and that's another one that has potential, but I just feel like he's not going out of his way to get people that seem distinct. All of the voices here often blend together, especially on more of the hip-hop pandering tracks. Some of these tracks are just ridiculous. The Half with Jeremiah, Young Thug, and Swizz Beatz is one that comes to mind, and of course the track right after that, it's just a kind of a really crucial point in this record. You're wondering, okay, we're on the verge, we're getting close to the end. Are we going to have some tracks that make a turning point and make this thing really solidify itself? No, because we get Oh Me, Oh My with Travis Scott, Migos, and G4 She. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Oh Me Oh My is just complete garbage. Easily one of my least favorite songs of the year. It's got the whole Travis Scott thing that he does where he shouts words in the background that maybe have something to do with what one of the other artists or he himself is talking about, and that really gets old after a while. I started noticing, even on the track that I like Antidote, that he does that the whole time in the background, and I'm like, why is this necessary? There's definitely some decent bass drops throughout this thing. Sahara with Skrillex was surprisingly entertaining. I can definitely hear old Skrilly's input on the track, and Pajale with Moxki. I know these are probably French words that I'm having trouble pronouncing. I'm so sorry for butchering them. That was actually a pretty entertaining and captivating track, especially once the drop came around. And then there's one that I'm a little bit conflicted on. Yellow Claw features on the track Ocho's Cinco, and it's one that has this crazy build-up. It starts off kind of tempered out, you know, you're just kind of chilling, listening to the music, and then it has this crazy build-up, and it's like that friend that you have that's trying to get everything out, and he tries to tell a story, and he's just so all over the place, not making any sense, and then somebody's like, whoa, let's just take a step back, calm down, bro, and then they actually get it out decently. That's what the drop on this track is like, because it actually gets to a point where it's very listenable and very entertaining at that, but at first it's just too chaotic. Pretty much the only solo track on this record is Propaganda. That's track number 10, so we don't even see DJ Snake by himself until the end of this record, showcasing what he can do without a vocalist or another producer on the track, other than really the intro, obviously, and this is one that he actually shows some decent skill sets on. I actually think that this is a pretty well thought out and produced track. It starts off nice, there's a bit of a build there, and I like the sampled vocals that he uses on this track, and then it just pulls all together at a pretty entertaining listen. And I have to say that this is one track that I was hoping that maybe would start to close the album out on a good note, but then we get another track like For Life featuring once again G4 She, and it's just another one that I'm seeing, why are we just branching out to only a couple of artists? You could probably tap so many people signed to Interscope Records now, and you're tapping just the same artist over and over again on this very record. And not that I'm opposed to that, especially if they can add something very interesting to the track. It's just that this artist is not doing so. And then once again, we get that track Future Part 2, once again with another familiar artist. And then we finally get to the tracks worth talking about. That's right, the final two songs on this record are the two best in my opinion. The first of those songs, believe it or not, features Justin Bieber, the king of appearing on tons of EDM tracks these days. I exaggerate a little bit, but he has really been putting himself out there as available, I suppose, for singing over these tracks. And a lot of them do just kind of feel watered down, like Cold Water, for example, with Major Lazer. And then I really was not a fan of that really annoying and kind of scathing beat on Where Are You Now by the Jack U Project with Skrillex and Diplo, but this is easily the best feature that I have seen him on thus far. Let Me Love You really showcases his vocal range. He seems a little bit more earnest on this track, a little bit more believable with what he's selling, and yeah, I really enjoy this track. It's got a great drop on it. I like the manipulated vocals that go on there, and Bieber does a fantastic job of handling what's given to him. And then of course right after that we get Here Comes the Night, featuring a name that I have not heard in quite a while, Mr. Hudson. You might remember him from featuring on that Forever Young, or Young Forever I suppose I should say, track with Jay-Z back in like 2009 on one of his Blueprint records, and I thought that that was a pretty decent track. And here Mr. Hudson is once again on the track Here Comes the Night, which is very 80s leaning. I like DJ Snake playing with different sounds. He has a big, interesting, synthy, airy build-up. I just used a lot of adjectives there, but I think they were all necessary. I actually feel like I'm a part of this song's atmosphere, and I gravitate towards it as a result. I can actually feel like the pain that's being sold in this track, and I really like what Mr. Hudson did with his vocal performance here, just talking about being hurt either by someone or else hurting someone. And it's a very interesting drop on this track. It's just very big. There's a big banging beat, but it doesn't feel like it's out of control, and I think that's why I'm loving it so much. Encore is over 50 minutes of music, but I can't say the majority of that is very entertaining. So for the most part, I'm not giving a recommendation to this. The tracks that I really loved, I will talk about in the favorites in the description. I would recommend checking those out. If you'd like to sample the album for yourself, obviously check that link in the description as well. I'm gonna go with a 2 out of 5 for DJ Snake's album, Encore. Let me know what you guys thought of Encore in the comments section down below. Me personally, I just didn't feel like this was that strong of an album. The reason I'm doing 2 out of 5 is just because I don't feel like there's a high replay factor, and I feel like there are songs on here we've just all heard before, and there's some songs that you could just hear perform better elsewhere by other electronic and EDM artists. That's just how I feel though. Let me know how you feel in the comments section down below. Don't forget to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, because friends don't let friends go unsubscribed, and you can check out all of my social media, my Patreon, everything like that, linked in the description down below. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys very soon right here on ARTV.